This is your life, and I'm in Coronation Street with Rita Fairclough, who is really Barbara Knox. And we're going to surprise a well-known friend, aren't we?
Yes, we are. And she's expecting me back right now, so we better get our skates on. Oh, and she's a bit naughty today. Thought I'd better warn you. Oh, you better I know you tick.
And there's plenty of jobs about, so I'm bound to get something. I'm sorry about it, Rita. I'm sure something will turn up. Oh. Have you got black tights or just these horrible tan things?
There's black there as well, if you look.
As a matter of fact, I did get offered a job today.
Oh, that's nice for you.
What is it?
Oh, I didn't take it. It didn't feel appropriate. How much?
75, love. What's the job?
Serving in Curly's supermarket.
Oh, I should think that would be a nice job over the Christmas period. Didn't you fancy it?
Oh, come on, mate. We're serving in a flipping shop. Would you fancy it?
Well, I might not fancy it, but some of us have it to do.
Yeah, well, this is different. This isn't some great anonymous money machine. This is a nice place.
Well, I'm sorry I can't offer you a job, love.
Oh, I wasn't fishing. Though, to be honest, if it had been anywhere but Better Buys, I'd have taken it. I don't want to feel beholden to Curly.
Well, I can understand that.
Well, I'm sure Curly wouldn't want you to feel beholden to him.
Well, I'm not risking it. I mean, I know we share a house, but apart from that, we're entirely independent. If he had his way, we'd be living some boring middle-class marriage with net curtains and a pond in the garden.
Althea, and we wouldn't want that, would we? That would be the end of the world, wouldn't it? We might have to wear tan tights as well. What you know? Oh.
Good evening. I'd just like half an hour of your time, if that's all right. Because I'm here to say Mavis Wilton, alias Thelma Barlow. Tonight, this is your life.
Oh, I've waited 20 minutes for her to shut up.
Hello, folks. Hello. Let me take you away from all this for a moment.
Oh, I've waited all this time for that.
Thank you very much. I thought you were going to say, oh, I don't really know, but it was all right. And if you had said that, this is what you would have missed, of course, your family and your friends, your sons, Clive and James. And now, the residents of Britain's most famous address. Here we go. Your boss at the cabin, Barbara Knox, Amanda Barry, Jill Summers, Christopher Cole, Elizabeth Dawn, Betty Driver, Julie Goodyear, Simon Gregson, Nicholas Cochran, Kevin Kennedy, and Kurt Bryan, Michael Lavelle, Deborah McAndrew, Philip Middlemiss, Ken Morley, Brian Mosley, Sue Nichols, William Tommy, Bill Waddington, Sean Wilson,
6.99 Royals,
Helen Worth, and William Roach.
Have you been nice to me this week? Or nice to you?
That's taken care of my voice for tonight. Now, surrounded by the street, you're celebrating 20 years since you took up residence.
Miss Littlewood.
That's me.
I'm Mavis. Mavis Riley. I've come about the job.
Can you feel yourself relaxing, Mavis? Tension oozing out of you. Tranquility creeping in.
realise feet were so sensitive.
My wife's put down at me. Hello, Derek. How could you, Mavis? How could you?
It's happened, and we've just got to start a fresh page.
Yes, yes, a fresh page. You can't go through life with a phobia about your own home.
No. So perhaps we could sell that house and buy somewhere else.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't deal with this. It's no good. I can't cope. I'm going. I'm just going. Don't bother tea with me. I'm going. Don't
Well, we've got the full range there, but Barbara, I imagine your relationship with Thelma is a bit more jolly in real life.
Oh, yes, yes. I mean, quite honestly, in the 20 years, we have shed many tears, but they've been tears of laughter. And we have been wonderful friends, and you couldn't wish for someone better to work with. And there's lots of many, many funny moments I could say, but what I really would like to say on your night, Thelma, is when we finish rehearsals, we have a little saying, we'll say to each other, come on, let's do it again, just one more time, make sure it's right. I'd be a very happy woman if I thought we'd many more years of saying to each other, let's do it again, just one more time. Thank you.
Me
Thelma.
too.
Well, we go back to the beginning now. Thelma Barlow, This Is Your Life, and the real version began on a June day in Falmouth Street in Middlesbrough. Your carpenter father, Tom, had died of heart failure just a few weeks before at the age of 37. And that's him as a very young man. The baby next to him is his sister, your Aunt Gladys, who's with us tonight at 92. And there's your mother, Meg, who went to work as domestic help for the local vicar and his wife. When they moved to Huddersfield, so did you. There you starred in your own drama series. There were only 2 in the cast. Looks like an early Baywatch.
No, not at all. Remember, Thelma, we called our drama The Nixons.
Your co-star and sister, Vida. So, Vida, The Nixons was a soap opera that you invented for your own amusement.
Yes, it was a continuing saga of a fabulously wealthy family, a sort of Huddersfield dynasty. Thelma played June Nixon, whose boyfriend was Holland MacDonald.
Holland MacDonald.
And my boyfriend, I played Mary Nixon, my boyfriend was Alistair McCallister.
That's right.
And I never thought then that one day my little sister would be in Britain's most successful saga.
Thank you, Vida. I think that could work. Holland MacDonald.
Hey,
Wonderful.
that's a good name.
Well, leaving school at 15, you take a secretarial course and get a job at a firm of auctioneers. Evenings are spent studying speech and drama at Huddersfield Technical College. A colleague from the auctioneers goes there too. He's on tour in Aberdeen tonight as Grandad in the stage version of Bread, Kenneth Waller.
Hello, Thelma. I'm so disappointed I can't be with you there tonight. But that's show business, isn't it? Do you remember when we first acted together? Our old friend Joe Berry ran a drama class at the Huddersfield Technical College Amateur Dramatic Society. And he was going to direct a production of The Importance of Being Earnest. And I don't know what the problem was, but there was something wrong about Canon Chasuble. He dropped out or something or other, and Joe rang me up and said, would I possibly play Canon Chasuble? Well, when I knew you were going to play Miss Prism, nothing would have kept me from doing it. You've become a great actress. You're a wonderful friend. Have a lovely time. Hope to see you soon. Lots of love.
Thank you, Kenneth Waller.
That's lovely.
And there you are with drama teacher Joe Berry in a College Dramatic Society production of The Glass Menagerie 40 years ago. moving on to musicals at the Huddersfield Light Opera Society in the dancing years. Now, what would Mavis make of this young lady? Now, this is you about to try your luck as an actress in London. You get to work with a film company making commercials for the cinema, but only as a secretary. A break comes when you get a part at Joan Littlewood's famous Theatre Royal, Stratford East. With this confidence booster, you launch yourself into regional rep. First stop is Exmouth with the West of England Theatre Company, and then the Bristol Old Vic in Congreve's The Way of the World.
You, thing that was a wife, shall smart for this.
Your stage husband in the 50s, your screen husband in the 90s, Derek Wilson alias Peter Baldwin.
There you are. Sit you down.
Peter, tell us about the first time you played Thelma's husband.
Yes, as you say, it was The Way of the World, a restoration comedy which we played at the Bristol Old Vic. I played Mr. Fainall and Thelma played Mrs. Fainall. It was our first marriage. And that quote I started went on, "You, thing that was a wife, shall smart for this. I will not leave thee wherewithal to hide thy shame. Your body shall be naked as your reputation." It's good. Sort of a Derek Wilson line, isn't it? But we did have happy times at Bristol, and it was a great coincidence and a great pleasure to come into the street and be Thelma's wife yet again. Now, in all the years... No, what was I? I was your husband. That's right. Something like that.
I knew there was something not working in this relationship.
That's what it is. But I must say, Michael, in all the years I've known Thelma, in all those years, I've discovered 3 things about her. Well, I've discovered more than that, but I'm not telling you. She's a very fine actress. She's a very good friend. And she's a very funny lady. So now I'm going back to put the kettle on.
Congratulations. Thank you, Peter Baldwin.
Something wrong.
In real life, of course, you married stage designer Thelma Barlow, though eventually you were divorced. But when you appeared at Birmingham Rep, you were expecting Clive here. The young stage manager watching your performance from the wings starts to get worried.
You shot me desperate looks as though you were in pain and needed help.
He's broken his holiday in Monte Carlo to be here, David Trevino.
Oh, David! Come on!
David, Thelma had told you she was leaving the company to have her baby.
That's right. You looked radiantly happy that night when you announced that you were leaving. And there you were on stage being marvellous, and suddenly you were clutching your head and shooting me dangerous looks. I thought, it's the baby, it's the baby. So I rushed off, got a glass of water as quick as I could, got back to you as soon as I could, and you sidled over to me, and out of the corner of your mouth you said, "Get me some pins, my wig's coming off."
David Trevino, thank you very much. Well, you moved back to Bristol, where you become a member of the famous Bristol Old Vic Company.
And Thelma, I'll never forget you in your sweet little cub mistress's uniform.
Was this on stage or off? With the story, Keith Barron.
Oh.
Lovely to see you.
Thank you for asking me.
Perhaps you didn't. That was intriguing, Keith. Would you explain?
Well, it is a million years ago. If you're... No, not a million. 1962, we did this play, if you remember, Thelma, All Things Bright and Beautiful. Yeah. My part was sitting on a dustbin most of the time. Well, it would be. There was a little boy in a lavatory who never came on, who kept singing Jerusalem. It was a good play, actually. But you, Thelma, you were the cub mistress. You remember Arcala, and a lot of dib, dib, dib and dub, dub, dub went on.
There was.
And you were very funny and you were very sweet. I think you were called Brown Owl or Black Duck or something.
Something like that.
But you were wonderful, and I've never forgotten. And we've passed in the corridor once or twice since the 48 years since then. I'd love to work with you.
And he calls himself a friend.
I'd love to work with you. Perhaps you could put a word in.
Right.
It's wonderful. Have a nice night.
God bless.
Thank you, Keith Barrow.
See you soon.
And it's at Bristol that an aspiring young actress sees you in another role.
Thelma, you were a wonderful landlady.
She too found fame as Morag Hood. So, Morag, you had digs at Thelma's.
I arrived in Bristol to join the Old Vic Company with nowhere to stay, and during the break I was told that I could have a flat at the top of Thelma's house. And Thelma at that time was one of the principal actresses with the company and playing Masha in The Seagull. And many people will tell you how multi-talented Thelma is, that she's a wonderful cook and a great gardener and a marvelous homemaker. And it seems to me that it's one thing to have all these talents and another thing to share them graciously and with generosity and huge kindness, which is what you do. It's what you did then in the 60s, and it's what you've been doing ever since. Thank you.
Thank you, Morag Hood. You made more friends at Liverpool Rep and meet someone who went on to keep the most famous garden on television in The Good Life, Richard Briers.
Thelma, well, greetings. It's a great shock to me that, believe it or not, we acted together 35 years ago at the Liverpool Rep, dear. Both very old now. I'll never forget your performance as Laura in The Glass Menagerie. You were so warm and so vulnerable. Two great qualities in acting which, of course, can't be taught. And you have them both. Luckily for us, you have them as a person as well as an actress. And thank heavens, you haven't changed a bit. Have a lovely evening, darling. Lots of love from Annie and me. Bye for now.
Thanks to Richard Briers. Now, you set up home in Coronation Street in 1971, and you stayed rather longer than the single episode you were booked for. Now, Julie Goodyear, you were already in residence then, of course.
That's right, yes. And I thought Thelma was a little love, and I still think she's a little love now. But what people don't realise is that Mavis has had as many, if not more, boyfriends than Bet.
Very unfair. Now, Elizabeth Dawn, you and Thelma found another kind of fame with a comedy act, a double act.
Well, we did Les Dennis and Dustin G. Do you remember Lovely Dustin and Les? Do you remember when they used to do You Gotta Get a Man? Well, I don't really know. Well, it just took off, didn't it? And me and Thelma, we've never really had a lot of lines together, have we?
No.
I mean, I was always in the factory, you were always in the cabin. And they did this before the Queen Mother. And just after I had lines in the cabin, and I went and I think I asked for a packet of fags. And I felt like saying, you gotta get a man. Well, you did, didn't you? You got Derek.
Thank you, Liz. Well, when you're not working, your great pleasure is the garden of your cottage over the Pennines. You made a guest appearance on your favourite gardening programme, Loads More Muck and Magic, edited by your friends Alan and Jackie Gear.
So you collect all your old bits of yoghurt cartons for beer traps for the slugs, and before you throw anything away, you think, oh, it might be useful in the garden, particularly the food, of course, food waste for the compost.
Yes. Now, looking around the garden, did it look like this when you started? Have you done lots of
No, it was all
changes?
just grass and a few apple trees and plum trees. And after a couple of years of that, I got very tired cutting that grass. So decided to design a garden with plants, which I like very much.
That's absolutely beautiful, isn't it?
One of those, yeah.
Well, now, two former residents of Coronation Street are regular visitors to your country home, and they're taking a trip back down the street tonight. It's It's 11 years since she played Renee Bradshaw, Madge Hindle, and with her, her husband Michael, and 20 years since she played Valerie Barlow and Reed.
Probably seen now. We could go into it. Hello, sweetheart. Lovely to come.
Now, Anne, you go on holiday together as well.
We do, and the thing that's always astonished me about Thelma, and I've often said to you, haven't I, that I think you're bionic, is her energy. She never seems to flag like other people do, and when we were on holiday in Tuscany, Madge and Michael and Thelma and I and James and our sons and daughters had this holiday. We got this villa together, and there was quite a lot of wine drunk, wasn't there, would you say? And no matter how late we stayed up or how much partying went on, the next morning when the rest of us were struggling to get an eyelid to go up and down, Thelma would be outside in her shorts, leaping about, doing her exercises. And I used to look out of my bedroom window and think, that woman is not human. But she is the best, most generous, thoughtful friend that anybody could have.
Thank you. And Madge, as well as all that, she's a great cook.
She is indeed, yes, and when she's not gardening, she's cooking. And like every busy person, she likes to fill the freezer. But Thelma doesn't like putting the labels on before she puts them on the recipes, before she puts them in the freezer. And so consequently, when she takes them out after several months, it's anybody's guess as to what it is. And she likes the element of surprise. That's what she likes. But if you remember, we were all round at Thelma's having supper one night, and she said, darling, would you like some parsnip puree with your chicken? And it turned out to be ginger ice cream.
You're one of life's radiators, Thelma, and you warm the hearts of all people that you meet.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you, Madge. Michael Hindle and Anne Reed. Now, Bill Roach, you've been in Coronation Street 31 years. What kind of neighbour is Thelma?
Well, Mavis is a lovely neighbour, but I think Thelma is probably about the most perfect neighbour you could possibly have. There was a time when Ken and Mavis sort of had a little sort in. I often maybe wish we'd stayed together. You'd have saved me a lot of trouble. But it's awfully difficult, you know, to think of adjectives. And I was going through how I could describe Thelma, and I thought of fair-minded, compassionate, kind, considerate, intelligent, sensitive, all these things. But I'd just like to say she's a lovely person, and we're better for having her amongst us.
Thank you very much. Well, as we've heard, the road to Coronation Street was a long one, and it all started in Queen Street in Huddersfield. That's where the late Joe Berry first taught you drama at the Technical College.
He rushed home one night and told our mother, I've got a star.
Joe's sister, now 82, Kathleen Thornler.
Lovely to see you. That's a good fellow. No, you're not. Not you. Come sit on, stand on this little bit here.
Now, Kathleen, you know that Joe followed Thelma's career till the day he died.
He did. He certainly did. And he was very moved when she came to his 70th birthday party and gave her this card I have with me. And in it, Thelma wrote to Joe, when I think of all the things that will never have been, if you had never been, I celebrate the day you were born. Fondest love and admiration, Thelma. He would have been very proud of her tonight. Surely would.
Thelma Barlow,
Thank you.
this is your life.